All right, I just drifted this C-clip out of there. Pull it off, set it to the side. There's this pin. I'm going to drift it. This trigger assembly should come out. Come to Papa. There it is. All right. There's the trigger assembly. Longer than I thought. I dropped it down in the action. There we go. Here's a spring. Now on the Ruger American Go Wild, I bought a spring from Macabo, I think is the name of the company. MCABO. It's a lighter spring. It's not as heavy of a gauge as this. This is pretty stout. I'm going to clip a coil and a half off of this. Heard you can also use the spring from a ballpoint pen, which I do have one here. I'm not sure this has a spring. Yeah, it does. Get it out of there. Silly thing. Spit. All right. Let's try this out. Here's a spring from a ballpoint pen. If you take a look, obviously the coils are much different, and this is pretty flimsy in comparison. Much longer. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to clip this ballpoint pen spring to the same length as the factory. La, 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 la. All right, so I just clipped the ballpoint pen spring. It is much squishier than the factory. So let's give this a shot and see how it turns out. Trick is fishing the spring back in the recess. There we go. £2, 6 ounces. 2 pound, 9 ounce. £2, 7 ounce. 2 pound, 9 ounce. So we're sub 3 on this. All right, what I initially tried to do was some spray foam insulation. You can see it in there. It all came out, obviously. When I tried to push it back in, it deflated the bubble, so to speak. So I got this little glob of spray foam in there. I've not really found anybody on the web, YouTube, that's come up with a good fix. I've seen some people. I thought about putting resin in there, just a big old batch of clear resin. But that gets real messy. Not saying this next, my own solution here is going to be any cleaner. But I'm going to dig some of the spray foam out real quick. Make room for the silicone. I got it all cleaned out. I forgot. I stuffed some fiberglass insulation down there to take up some room. I guess I planned on not getting back in there, so it didn't matter. But that sucked getting that out. But, hear that now? It's all cleaned out. It is loud. So I guess what I had done worked some, but let's see if we can make it work better. All right, so what is my plan to fill that void in this Ruger American stock? Quiet it up a little bit. Well, like I said, I thought about putting in clear resin, and that's a mess, and it takes a long time for that to cure too. And I wasn't for sure that inside that stock and that closed cavity, if it would cure all the way. I did several bar tops with that stuff before, and it is a mess. And if it's not mixed all the way, it never sets up. So didn't know if I had a big, if I'd end up getting a big pile of goo inside my gun. This may not be any better. So I'll let you know how it turns out. But my solution to this is, as I was on the old interweb the other day, I was looking at something for a different project, and I came across, let me throw away my pen that I took the spring out of, came across this silicone rubber. You use it for making molds, for resin molds and whatnot. So I think it'd be a fantastic solution to my problem. Okay, here's the goop. Liquid silicone rubber. I've seen people make molds out of this stuff, and I think the consistency is going to be perfect for this project. I think it's not only going to fill the void, it's going to be a little more dense than that spray foam. It's not going to be as dense as, say, clear resin, or as heavy. And hopefully it takes a little shock out of shooting that thing, because that 450 Bushmaster is no joke. So, all right, what we do here is we mix this 50-50. It's kind of like an epoxy, I guess. Ah, fuck it, really. That's a pretty big void. Let's go ahead and just mix it all up. Why not? So I think you're supposed to stir this for like 5 minutes. And we want to try to get this as stirred up as possible, because we want this to set up. Okay, I figured I better read the directions before I go dumping this in the stock of my gun. Here's what the box looks like. That's resin. And I ran all the way back inside, found the box, did not find the directions. So we're going to wing it. I remember them saying, I think, stir for at least 5 minutes. All right, it has been 30 minutes since I mixed this. The viscosity of it may be a little bit thicker, but still pretty soupy. It's been just a little over an hour, and this is starting to set up pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and get this in the gun, because it's starting to solidify, and get this in the stock, I mean. So I went ahead and took my barrel off. It's sitting over here. So just got the stock. We'll step outside the shop and fill this puppy up. Okay, it's been just a little over an hour. Once this stuff starts to set up, it sets up pretty darn quick. I mean, it turned from falling off the stir 2 minutes ago to being clumps. I was able to get it in the stock of my gun. Listen to that. Dead. No longer hollow sounding. So we'll let that sit overnight and let it cure. We'll be back. This did set up 2 hours since I mixed it. It's been about 30 minutes, 45 minutes ago since I poured it in. It is set up. No more knock, knock, knock.